let us talk about this movie coming out of 2011. The movie is Cabin in the Woods. It is directed by Drew Goddard. It stars Kristen Connolly, Chris Hemsworth, and Anna Hutchinson. Now, with everything that we do, we need to exercise critical thinking. We need to connect the dots and most definitely ask questions, because these people, they put their various agendas and the way they intend to destroy humanity in the form of entertainment. We watch and we're thoroughly entertained, and we do not realize that these people are showing you how they intend to destroy you and your families. Right now, this movie surrounds 5 friends going for a weekend in the cabin in the woods. Now, they think this is just innocent and they will just enjoy themselves, but they don't realize that they are up to be blood sacrifice to ancient gods. It's an elaborate plan to have them sacrifice to ancient gods by powers in high places. Right now, they have this movie as a horror comedy. I cannot understand the comedy part. I don't see anything comedic about this movie, and that is to throw you off, to not to take it serious, not to understand that these people are telling you their intentions and letting you know what they are doing. Right? Because this is currently happening. You need to ask questions. Where is all those missing children? Not one, not two, not 100, not 1,000, but hundreds of thousands go missing every year in the United States. And we're not even going to talk about the worldwide figure for missing children on top of missing people. Right? It's an epidemic. So let us pick up on some dialogue, because in the facility, in the office, they were placing bets. They were betting which monster the children is going to release to hunt them down. How wicked and cruel can you get? Right? Now, this is what the character Truman had to say. How can you wager on this when you control the outcome? And they go on to reply, no, we just get them in the cellar. They take it from there. They have to make the choice of their own free will. Now, there is nothing free will about conning someone, backing them into a corner to make the decision that you want them to make. Just like poverty, because that is what poverty is all about. Backing you into a corner so that you make decision that goes against humanity and goes against the Most High Creator's wishes. That is what it is all about. And they are calling it free will. That is not free will. That is backing them in a corner. Right? Pay attention. And it goes on. They go on to say this. Otherwise, the system doesn't work. Just like the Harbinger. He's a creepy old F. Practically wears a sign, you will die. And the question is asked, why did we put him there? And they answered, they have to choose to ignore him. And they have to choose what happens in the cellar. Right? And they go on to say, yeah, we rig the game as much as we need to. But in the end, they don't transgress. They can't be punished. No, they're telling you that this thing known as a life, that they already rigged it. So we feel that the decision that we make most of the time is of our own free will, but they are letting you know that the food you eat is contaminated. They are letting you know that the air you breathe, it is contaminated. The water is contaminated, which explains those chemtrails, right? That is what they are doing. They are using chemicals and hormones to make you passive, to make you do what you wouldn't do. That is what this life is all about, and that is what they are doing to these kids in the cabin in the woods, to make them passive, to not make them think. But there is one individual among them that it's just not working. Whatever they are spraying and whatever they are selling, the bullshit that they are selling, it's not working, right? And he is a heavy smoker, and when he smokes something that leaves a heavy cloud, right? And he's rolling up what he's smoking in Rizla. I wonder, what is he smoking, right? Now, let us keep it moving and realize that they finally choose the way they want to die, the nightmare. And Truman had to ask a question when he sees the nightmare on the monitor. because they are watching them. It's like a reality movie that they are watching these young people's demise, right? Which is all in aid of wicked giant gods. They are like something from a nightmare. The colleague says, no, they are nightmares are from. No, they are something nightmares are from. Everything in our stable is remnant of the old world, courtesy of you know who. Truman asks, monsters, magic gods? She then said, you'll get used to it. Truman said, should you? No, they're letting you know that they got these nightmare creatures, your goblins, your werewolf, your yetis. They've got these nightmare creatures courtesy of the fallen ones, right? Should we then assume that they're talking that these creatures are in facilities, underground facilities, waiting to be unleashed on humanity? Should we assume this? Because that is what they are telling us in this movie, that these nightmare creatures that these kids were allowed to choose to hunt them, that they exist and that they get them from the gods. Pay attention to this movie and connect the dots, because they are telling you and showing you their hand without shame, right? And these are the nightmare creatures that were on the earth during the time of Noah, right? Because the Mosai had to destroy the earth, and it wasn't just because of giants or because of man doing bad things. There was a lot of abomination on the earth as well. But because the Bible is so contaminated, we don't get the full information of what was really going on. But these Hollywood movies, they are shedding light as to what to expect, what was going on. No, Marty, the one that smokes, he suspects something is wrong and he's asking the right questions. Let's get into his dialogue. I have a theory about all of this. You seriously believe nothing weird is going on? Dana replies, conspiracy, because you know that is what they say when people question what is happening. And he then goes on to say, the way everybody is acting, why is Jules suddenly a celebutard? And since when does Kurt pull his alpha male bullshit? I mean, he's a sociology major. He's on a full academic scholarship. And now he's calling his friends egghead. Dana give out. Kurt is just drunk. But Marty is not having none of it. Marty says, I've seen Kurt drunk and Jules too. Then the friend says, well then, maybe it's something else because she's not seeing anything. She don't understand and she's going to brush it under the carpet. But Marty sees his friend acting out of character, and that is what is going to happen in today's world, because they're going to release the 5G mind control weapon, which will bring everybody else in line, and everyone around you is going to start acting out of character. Very few people will notice and understand what is going on, because some people buy into the bullshit, and I tell you, you better keep your receipt. Because you're going to need it. Because right here in today's world, we've got an intelligent virus that is going on from winter, summer, spring into winter again. Right? And you're telling me that no one can understand or see what is happening in front of their face? Right? Now, in this world, the curtains is going to be pulled down to the other dimension, and you will see what exactly was going on. Now, many of you need to keep the same energy, because you love the life you live, you love your position, and you love your wealth. So you need to keep the same energy when you see what is happening around you. Continue following protocol, continue wearing your mask, and continue using your angel. Because things coming on the earth that men's heart is going to fail them. Now, as we go on and they release these wicked entity that is killing their friends and they cannot understand. Now, two survive, Marty and Dana, and they were extremely upset because one of them made this remark. Remember when you could just throw a girl in a volcano? Right? So it explains a whole lot, because we read various history books on various tribes that used to throw people into volcanoes alive. They are trying to appease gods that are locked up, right? Gods that are locked up that feel that they are in control. How dare them? Now, let us go over to the director, because now that Marty and Dana is inside their office wreaking havoc because they decide to fight for the life that they were given. And this is what the director had to say. You shouldn't be here. This should have gone differently, ended more quietly. I can only imagine your pain and confusion, but know this. What is happening to you is part of something bigger, something older than anything known. You have seen horrible things, an army of nightmare creatures, but they are nothing compared to what come before, what lies below. It's our task to placate the ancient ones, as it is yours to be offered up to them. Forgive us and let us get it over with. Now, oh dear, this woman is basically telling these people to be passive, to lay over, to lay down, so that these entities can kill them, so that they can be killed. They should lay down. And they are so upset because one made the remark, whatever he's been smoking has been immunizing him to all our shit. And we need to find out what Marty was smoking, because he wasn't as passive as the rest, and that is why he made it this far. No, director. If you think that humanity, some of us, is going to placate to these ancient ones, you have another thing coming, right? Because no one in 2020 is going to lay down their life for these ancient ones to please them. And these ancient ones need to understand, now it's 2020. What happened during the days of Noah won't happen again. And you are lucky if you make it to the Most High standing. They need to understand, if they can stand in front of the Most High, they will be lucky, because the one known as Jesus, Yeshua, or the Lion from the tribe of Judah, he is going to take their head, right? So they will be making it to the lake of fire in pieces. So they are worried about people putting up blood sacrifice, and I cannot understand why humanity choose to align themselves with entities that are locked up. You should be aligning yourself or looking for the ones that lock them up, because the ones that are locked up are not in control, never have been and never will be. So don't let them fool you. No, Dana had this to say now. Know that you see everything. I should have seen it like you did. This is part of a ritual sacrifice. No, Marty had to say this. A ritual sacrifice? Great. Tie someone to a stone. Get a fancy dagger and a bunch of robes. It's not that complicated. No, Dana said this. No, they don't just want to see us killed. They want to see us punished. And Marty had this to say. Punish for what? The director then presented herself. For being young. You see, it's different in every culture, and it has changed over the years, but it has always required youth. There must be at least 5. No, these people have the audacity, and they're telling you what is happening to your young people and your children. These ancient wicked gods require the blood of the young, the blood of the children. No, Marty has this to say. But what if you don't pull it off? Then the woman says, the director, then they rise. Dana asks, who does? What's beneath us? The director said, the ancient ones, the gods that used to rule the earth. So they believe they used to rule the earth, right? Now the woman said this, as long as they accept our sacrifice, they remain below. But the other rituals of all failed, right? So Marty had this to say, maybe that's the way it should be. If you got to kill all my friends to survive, maybe it's time for a change, right? Now the woman said this, we are not talking about change. We are talking about the agonizing death of every human soul in the planet, including you. You can die with them or you can die for them. Oh dear, this woman, they already murdered Yeshua or Jesus. They already murdered him. What more blood do they require? Right? What more blood? But we already hear one of the ladies in the office said this statement: you guys are humanity's last hope if the ancient rise. So apparently they need these 5 kids to die, right? So 2 is still alive to appease the ancient gods. Now, who does these people think they really are to want people's children blood, to want to kill people's children for ancient, wicked, cruel, giant, ancient gods? Who do they think they are? Right? And they get terribly upset when other rituals across the world failed, because the Japanese students' ritual, they weren't able to kill the Japanese schoolgirls, which we'll get into that, because they were extremely upset, right? With them screaming at the monitor saying, F you, F you, F you. How hard it is to kill 9-year-old Japanese schoolgirls. Let that sink in. These people are coming after our children, and they explain it to you in the movie why so many children go missing and young people, because these ancient gods require the blood of the young. They require the blood of our children, right? That is what they require, and they want them to suffer. Not just to kill them, but they want these children to suffer, that they can hunt them. And they are telling you their hand. They are telling you what they got. They are letting you know the technology. And this is what the Bible was trying to explain to us. But because the Bible is so contaminated, the message don't come forward clearly, because the lies is mixed in with the truth. And you need to understand this is a spiritual war. Right? Now, let us take a look at the Japanese children slide, because when these nightmare monsters come into the arena with the Japanese children, they are intact with their spirituality. And that is why they are trying to corrupt our children, that when these nightmare things come on the earth, right, our children don't stand a chance. Now, the Japanese children are clever, because as they say, they were singing, oh, what a friend we have in Shinto. And they turn this creature into a lotus flower, and then they turn it into a frog. Right? Now, I have to give a side eye to the Japanese children in this movie, because really, what are they really trying to tell us? That these Japanese children are these children from the East. They've got their spirituality intact, right? While they try to strip the spirituality from the West, try to get the children in the West and our young people to do various debauchery, to sin against the Most High, so that when these things come on the earth, our children will be sitting ducks. Is that what they're trying to tell us? Because the Japanese children passed their ritual, and they've always done so, and they were extremely upset with that, right? No. Let us look at the stable, because they make mention that they've got a stable with nightmare creatures, and that these creatures are courtesy of the fallen ones, right? Or the ancient ones, or the old ones, right? Now, you need to understand that it wasn't about giants. There was a lot of things on the earth why the Most High had to destroy it. Now, the Bible and various religious texts would try to paint the Most High as a petty God that loved to destroy what he created, but we did not get the message correctly. There was a lot happening on earth during the days of Noah, and it should not be taken for granted, right? There was a lot, and these ancient ones, along with their various abominations, they feel that because they're allowed to get away with so much, that the Most High has gone soft, that he's turned a blind eye to it, but it will be hell to pay. It will not end well, because these giant evil gods that are coming, that they are releasing, think that they will get away with what they got away with during the days of Noah. Now, we see Marty and Dana, after beating and winning, they're having a smoke. Now, we need to know what they're smoking, because we need some of that for these end times. Right? No, people, let us pay attention to what is happening in real life, because we see that the UN had a virtual concert and they were singing about we will rise again. And in the movie, it is talking about the Ancient One rising unless they get some form of a blood sacrifice. What is going on? What is it that the UN is talking about rising? Right? Because when the movie finished, it finished with the giant hand rising from under the earth, like it has been released from somewhere, getting ready to come back to pick up where they left off, because somehow these gods, these entities, they are suffering from some mental illness. They don't realize that what you did back then, you will not be allowed to carry it out back in 2020. They have some learning problems, learning issues, because they're under some strong delusion that they're going to get away with it. Right? No one in 2020 got time for your foolishness. No one is handing over their children, and you'll be lucky if you walk in front of the Most High. Right? We'll be picking you up in pieces, pieces of giant gods, courtesy of my little friend here that Hollywood has been showing you as the black aliens. Some call him the ancestors, some say Yahushua, some say Yeshua, Jesus, or simply the Lion from the tribe of Judah. And he will be back and they will be held to pay. And he's coming as an avenging lion. He won't be a lamb to the slaughter. And he wasn't a lamb to the slaughter in the first place. He was brutally murdered by perverted cowards. Simple. Right? And he's coming back. And when you all see him, please keep the same energy. Right? Keep the same energy. Keep doing your protocol with your angel and your mask. Right? Because there'll be hell to pay when he gets back, and he won't be meeting and greeting no one. So let us pray and say, glory be to the Most High.